Your Excellency, Mama Janeti, the mother of this wonderful nation, I am your Muzukuru from Mbale. My name is Sansi, the Kadodi man. Your Excellency, I'm going to sing your favorite song, Echisera. But before I sing it, Your Excellency, Wampa studio yange, no panika munye yange, naye muzeeyi sinagifuna badde sabanzire Mbale n'essanyu muzeeyi tukube tyoni sabula office katono people in this country. Secure your future. The time is now. Thank you, President Museveni, for your visionary leadership. Stanley Kasana. Our fallen soldiers and historical. people power. Yabichenyo, Mama Tendere, Susundere, Usaino, Kutaya Sandakule, Mama Rumba Kumechitere, Kabola Kulina, Kulinakule, Checho, Mama Nawe, Checho, Telimaiki, Mokulane, Katatina, Chirichita, Anite, Enrique Kasamba, Chirichita, Yomo, Mama Namayaka. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Your Excellency. Those are the young people you have built. From the scrap, from the village, from the ghetto, from wherever. And they can come to Kampala and sing and express themselves. They want their future secured. And the only way to secure their future is to ensure that the NRM, and led by Your Excellency, that NRM is once given an opportunity to secure the future of the young people. We want to thank you very much. We are now going to watch a clip. You are now going to watch a clip, after which we shall invite the Secretary General to take us through the remaining process. Can we have a clip from the production unit, basically to usher us in the manifesto comprehension process? Mr. Awal.
For the first time in the history of our country, Uganda has enjoyed more than 3 decades of economic growth, security, and a stable democratic process, buttressed by NRM core principles of democracy, patriotism, pan-Africanism, and socio-economic transformation. The National Resistance Movement remains committed to economic growth and development policies that will create more jobs and wealth for all Ugandans. Through Operation Wealth Creation and National Agriculture Advisory Services, NRM will continue supplying farm inputs to farmers as well as extension services on modern agricultural practices. NRM pioneered education for all policy through the Universal Primary Education and Universal Secondary Education programs, and will continue to emphasize the teaching of science subjects, skills development, innovation, and research. The health of Ugandans is a top priority to NRM. Upholding health as wealth, we will continue to invest in health infrastructure across the country in order to achieve the goal of a modern healthcare system. The NRM remains a champion for justice and quality for all Ugandans. The youth, the elderly, women, and people with disabilities will continue to have a respected voice in matters of policy and resource allocation. Through our collective effort, the democracy rating is growing and maturing while people's freedoms are entrenched and secure. The social, economic, and political gains are cemented and irreversible. At this rate, Uganda is unstoppable, and NRM more than ever before is in a greater position to secure your future.
Your Excellency, that right summarizes the 35 years NRM has been in administration. It is just that long, but the people can see how far you have brought us. With those few remarks, Your Excellency, I want to take this opportunity to invite the Right Honorable Secretary General, Right Honorable Justin Kasule Lumumba, please.
Thank you so much, MC. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, the Chairman of NRM, and the Presidential Flag Bearer for NRM, with our mother, Honorable Janet Museveni. The Vice President of the Republic of Uganda, His Excellency Edward Kiwanuka II, Right Honorable Rebecca Alitwala Kadaga, the Speaker of Parliament and the second Vice Chairperson of NRM, Right Honorable Deputy Speaker of Parliament and the incoming Vice Chairperson of Northern Uganda region in NRM, the first National Vice Chairperson of NRM, Right Honorable Alhaji Moses Chigongo, Right Honorable Ruhakana Rugunda, the Prime Minister of the Republic of Uganda, members of the Central Executive Committee, ministers present, religious leaders present, members of Parliament, members of the National Conference, members of NEC, members of SEC. Once again, we have to recognize those structures in a special way. Today is your day. This is the function of the party. NRM Secretariat team, our flag bearers from the different parts of the country, the media, ladies and gentlemen, I take this opportunity on behalf of the Secretariat to invite you all to this function. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, National Chairman, everybody, every member of NRM would have loved to be here for different reasons. One, to be part of this team that is going to witness the launching of the manifesto, but also in a special way to identify with the winning team led by you. At such a time, after nomination, I want to take this opportunity to congratulate you as an individual, but also to congratulate you as a family, to also congratulate you as the NRM family for having made that milestone today. Your Excellency, a lot has been achieved under your leadership, as a party, but also as government. Not everything can be summarized, but I want to take this opportunity, Your Excellency, to congratulate the team led by Honorable Kamuntu, that you gave the responsibility to draft the manifesto in 2 months, and they delivered. That is a manifestation, Your Excellency, that you, as head of state, for the times you have led this country, you have built capacity for the politicians, the scientists, those in the security, and also in the party. But this time you were so particular that you went for the economists and the scientists to make sure they put together a manifesto that will lead us as we take on the challenge of the COVID-19 pandemic. Your Excellency, allow me recognize in a special way, as I introduce to you the special visitors who are here in a representative capacity, because the 12 million registered NRM members are represented by the few who are here. Your Excellency, we have Right Honorable Alhaji Moses Chigongo, the National Vice Chairperson of NRM. Haji, stand up for recognition. He led us today to your nomination, and we were so successful. Congratulations, our candidate. Congratulations, our leader, Alhaji Moses Chigongo. Your Excellency, we have Right Honorable Rebecca Alitwala Kadaga, the Speaker of the Parliament of Uganda, but the second national vice chairperson of NRM party. Your Excellency, we have Right Honorable Dr. Ruhakana Rugunda, a member of SEC and also the Prime Minister of Uganda. Your Excellency, for us Catholics, when we make mistakes, they taught us to simplify. You say, mea culpa, mea culpa, mea culpa, mea maxima. Allow me introduce the Vice President of the Republic of Uganda, His Excellency Edward Kiwanuka Sekandi, who was also part of the team in Chambogo to witness with his own eyes to see his boss nominated. Your Excellency, we have Right Honorable Alhaj Moses Chirunda Chiveidinda, the chairperson of the Historical League, but also the second Deputy Prime Minister. We have Right Honorable Olanya Jacob, the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, but also the incoming Vice Chairperson of NRM Eastern Region, Northern Region. Your Excellency, we have Dr. Lukali Robert, the chairperson of the Entrepreneurship League, but also the flag bearer for Mbarara, one of the divisions in Mbarara City, Mbarara North. Your Excellency, we have Honorable Alhaj Abdul Naduri, the Vice Chairperson for Central Region and also Presidential Advisor. Your Excellency, we have Honorable Flight Captain Dr. Mike Mukula, the Vice Chairperson in charge of Eastern Uganda. Your Excellency, we have Honorable Chiwanda Godfrey, the Minister of State for Tourism, but the incoming Vice Chairperson for Central Region. Your Excellency, we have Honorable Huda Oleru. He's a member of SEC and also a flag bearer in Yumbe. Honorable Major General Jim Muhwez, the chairperson of the Veterans League and also our flag bearer in Rujumbura County in Rukungiri District. We have Honorable Major General Kahinda Otafire, also a member of SEC. He sent his apologies. We have Honorable Ruth Nankabirwa Sentamu, the chairperson of the NRM Parliamentary Caucus and the flag bearer for NRM for District Woman Representative Chibuga. We have Honorable Samuel Ngola, the Vice Chairperson of NRM Northern Region and also the flag bearer for Erute South. We have Honorable Arepere Simon, the Vice Chairperson for Karamoja Region. He also sent his apologies. We have Honorable Mr. Gabriel Kato, the Chairperson for People with Disabilities. We have Mr. Godfrey Nyakana, the Vice Chairperson for Kampala Region. We have Mr. Katongole Singh, the Vice Chairperson for Kampala, the incoming member of SEC. We have Honorable Nasul Gaddafi, the Chairperson of the Youth, and in a special way, the person who has been given responsibility by the NRM party to nominate you as a candidate at such an age. Congratulations. And our flag bearer for Katikamu North. We have Muzei Gidudu Dominic Mafabi, the chairperson of the Elders League, but also our flag bearer for the Elders, Member of Parliament for Eastern Region. Congratulations. We have Honorable Dr. Chris Variomus, the incoming Vice Chairperson for NRM Western Region. and our flag bearer for Kinkiz West East. Your Excellency, we have Honorable Lydia Wanyoto, the chairperson of the Women's League, and also the flag bearer for City Woman Member of Parliament, Mbale City. Your Excellency, allow me introduce to you the ministers who are here. I request Your Excellency, allow me introduce Mr. Tweheo James, the chairperson of the Workers' League. Your Excellency, allow me introduce to you the ministers who are here. Please stand up for recognition. NRM Oye, led by the Prime Minister. NRM Oye. Your Excellency, allow me introduce to you also, in a special way, the manifesto drafting team. Manifesto drafting team led by Dr. Honorable Professor Ephraim Kamuntu, deputized by Honorable Richard Todwong, the Deputy Secretary General. Your Excellency, we shall introduce them in person because we would request them to come up at that time so that the country is able to see the team that has put this together as we go to seek mandate for another term. Your Excellency, before you here, we have the team that works at the Secretariat. The team at the Secretariat that works with me. Can you please stand up? We have Honorable Rose Namayanja Nsereko, the National Treasurer. I want to take this opportunity to inform you, members of the Secretariat team, if you look at yourselves and look at your dates of birth, you are a bridge between the elders and the younger ones. As a bridge, I expect you to go in front so that the bridge is seen so clearly to lead between the other team and another. Honorable Rose Namayanja Nsereko, the National Treasurer. Honorable Richard Todwong, the Deputy Secretary General. Honorable Jacqueline Chatuheire, the Deputy National Treasurer. Honorable Kasamba Matthias, the Director, Mobilization, Card Identification, Training and Placement, also Deployment. Hajati Medina Naham, Director, Finance and Administration. Honorable Dombolumala Emmanuel, the Director, Public Relations and Information. Your Excellency, before you, we also have people from the business community. We have your grandchild, Hamis Chigundu, who is as old as this NRM government. We have Honorable Sanjay Tana from the private sector. We have Mr. Chirumira. He sent his apologies. We have Mama Amina. We have also Haji Kavuma Musa. We have also Hajat Mariam Namayanja. Your Excellency, we have leaders from different teams. Your Excellency, allow me also introduce people from the Chairman's office in Chambogo. We have Mrs. Babalanda Miriam and Mrs. Batambuze Nora. Your Excellency, we are here because you worked with other people to make Uganda be what it is today. Allow me to recognize the presence of Right Honorable Chintu Musoke. Welcome, Muzei. We are here because you are part of the team that laid the brick, and we are also here to add the brick so that your grandchildren find something very stable. Your Excellency, we have members of Parliament led by the Government Chief Whip, who is the chairperson of the NRM Parliamentary Caucus, Honorable Ruth Nankabirwa, who has come with the Honorable Margaret Muhanga, the publicity for the caucus, Honorable Mariam Naigaga, the treasurer for the caucus. Welcome. Thank you for mobilizing colleagues to make sure the party decision takes the day in Parliament under the chair of Right Honorable Alitwala Rebecca Kadaga and also Right Honorable Jacob Olanya. We appreciate as a party. Let's clap for them. Your Excellency, we also have members of Parliament elect those who are already in the bag of NRM. As we go out to compete with others, we have those who have gone through unopposed. In a special way, Your Excellency, we have Honorable Kafuzi Jackson, the Deputy Attorney General, unopposed in Chaka County South. Your Excellency, we have your grandchild, Javira Semwanga, who went through unopposed in Buyamba County in Rakai District. And I will introduce him later in a special way because he is a summary of all what we want to talk about and all what we want to do and how we want the future to be. Your Excellency, we have Honorable Pius Wakabi. Where are you, Honorable Pius Wakabi? That one is so lucky that he has gone through unopposed the second time. He went through unopposed in 2016, and even now he has gone through unopposed. Your Excellency, we have Honorable Kugonza Emily. Honorable Kugonza Emily, where is he? We also have Honorable Lakwang Hirale. Honorable Lakwang Hirale from Iki County. And this one from Karamoja, he was able to go to school because apart from the others benefiting in general on the policies to do with education, you and Mama handpicked him and took him to school. And here he gets a second term as a member of Parliament. We have Honorable Papalu Lilian Obiala, Arua District. Congratulations. Your Excellency, as we go to tussle with others, we already have 7 in the pocket of NRM seated, waiting for the speaker to tell them come and take oath. So those who keep saying that NRM to the negative, please, who stopped you from competing in those constituencies? It was all public, you didn't present candidates, then you come up to say this or the other. Congratulations, NRM, under the leadership of His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Your Excellency, we have a team at the Secretariat that made sure the process of election goes on for us to have you as a product, as a flag bearer, headed by Dr. Tango Doi, Chairman of the Electoral Commission of NRM, deputized by Honorable Chijaj Arimpa John, and we have Commissioner Honorable Jane Alisemera Babiha. Your Excellency, in here, we also have, I forgot to introduce Mr. Nyangole Enoch, our flag bearer for Nakaseke North, and who also went through unopposed. Congratulations. Your Excellency, here we have also people who have represented the different implementation and the different structures of the party. We have the chairpersons of NRM who have represented the different chairpersons of NRM. Can you please stand up for recognition? And they are headed by the chairman NRM of Kalungu District, Engineer Chiganda Twaha. Your Excellency, for LC5, we invited those who went through unopposed. We already have 3, but here I've seen Mr. Batwala, LC5 Ginger, who went through unopposed. Honorable Chairman LC5 of Chiruhura, unopposed. Can you please stand up for recognition? He has not made it. Your Excellency, allow me also recognize the presence of Right Honorable Adrico, former Deputy Prime Minister and Secretary General of the Historical Leaders Forum. Your Excellency, here we also have Mr. Mitala, who heads a team of the technical people who implement our manifesto. Mr. Mitala. Your Excellency, we shall introduce more as we go on, but Your Excellency, allow me in a special way tell people briefly about you as the candidate and why you. Your Excellency, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni is a man of strong conviction and rare courage. When he took the decision to liberate Uganda, he tried to begin the struggle in Mbale. He didn't succeed. That did not stop him. He went to Mayuge to begin the struggle. He did not succeed. That did not stop him. And he went to Mbarara to begin the struggle of liberating this country. He didn't succeed. But he didn't give up until God showed him that the way to liberation is Luwero. I want to take this opportunity to thank the people of Luwero for having worked with you, illiterate, elites, peasants, those who had and those who didn't have, offered what they could at the time to make sure they join you in liberating this country. And he did that leaving behind a young family. At a time when everybody would want to carry a baby and smile, whatever step the baby makes, you feel good. He had to put that aside as a sign that he puts national interest above self-interest. But in a special, I want to thank Mama Janet. At that age, a husband to leave you with young kids. These ones are sneezing, the others are crying, these are dying, these are surviving, this one immunization. And she took on all of that, sacrificing for this country. We recognize you, Mama Janet. He was so young, and he started mobilizing the Banyankole to leave nomadism and practice the best agriculture. We were leaders at the time, but he opted to say, no, we have to do this. Because he was watching what the Bazungus were doing at the stock farm. A young man with that courage to say, let me take on this. When there were people responsible at that time to do that, that was a sign of leadership, which was special, given to you in a special way by your special God. Also recognize God and thank God. While at Intale Secondary School, he decided to campaign to be a president of the debating club. And I want to take this opportunity to recognize Honorable Fraimu Kamuntu, who was his chief campaigner when the student called Yoweri Kaguta Museveni was campaigning to become the president of the debating club. Chief campaigner, stand up. You are now the chief manifesto drafter. But when he joined Ntare, he joined the Scripture Union, and that made him understand the Bible better. Of course, in addition to what his mother taught him. For those of you who call yourselves whatever titles in the church or in connection to the Bible, I'm not near there. But you can only challenge him if you have prepared yourself well and if he has given you which topic to discuss. That means he's entrenched in mind and heart and in actions. No wonder he puts the issue of the life of a Ugandan, the issue of life of a human being beyond the boundaries of Uganda. And that's why you see he goes to help the neighbors. As he secures Uganda, he also secures the neighbors. That's the person I'm talking about. Your Excellency, when you took power, you came in with the ideology of Pan-Africanism, the ideology of patriotism, the ideology of socio-economic transformation and democracy. But amongst all the four, the foundation is a human being. You brought policies that were to better the life of a human being. You brought immunization. Ugandan children were immunized. When the time came for them to go to school, you decided to make education free because the numbers you had found when you took power were very few. And children were not in school because they were being forced to pay, and not all could afford to pay. Your Excellency, now men have left school and the jobs are not enough because of the policies of liberalizing the education sector, right from pre-primary up to university. But Your Excellency, the free education offered in primary, secondary, and university, at the same time immunization and the services offered in the health sector have made us survive all that used to take our grandparents. We thank you for the good policies. Allow me, Your Excellency, to invite one of the fruits of your efforts, Semwanga Javira. He's a young man who is as old as, slightly older than NRM by a few years. He's younger. He's 34 years. He's the MP elect for Buyamba County in Rakai District, unopposed. I want him to come and give us his story. In him, you'll see what His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni wanted to find in a person, wanted to find in a Ugandan. And in him, he actually is a very good example of our theme, securing the future. Semwanga, congratulations. God has brought you this far because you took advantage of the policies under the leadership of His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, and here you are to address the President and the Presidential Flag Bearer, and Mama Janet, the country and the world. Praise God. Welcome.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the First Lady, Mama Janet Museveni, dignitaries present, ladies and gentlemen. I am a product of UPE who has made it to Parliament. Your Excellency, my name is Javira Semwanga, the NRM Parliamentary Flag Bearer for Buyamba County in Rakai District. I am among the few NRM candidates who are currently unopposed. Nobody would imagine that I would live to tell my success story, let alone basing on the challenging experience I have endured from the time I was born. Your Excellency, I was born exactly 34 years ago when the NRA shot to power. I am the first generation child of the NRM government. And I could also add that I am the child of the revolution, omuzukuru. My parents passed on 2 years after my birth. Of HIV, and I was left in the hands of fate. Growing up in a community where each day my relatives, including some of my caretakers, were dying of the deadly scourge in Rakai district. We owe it to you, Your Excellency, that you are the first leader on the African continent to sound the alarm against this deadly scourge at the time leaders and people were afraid to openly talk about it. Maybe if this alarm by the president had been sounded earlier, my parents and relatives would have lived longer. At the time I was growing up, His Excellency, under the difficult circumstances, attaining education was a pipe dream for me and most of my peers due to school fees problem. However, as Providence would have it, a good Samaritan enrolled me for sponsorship at Chimuli Primary School. This is a government school, by the way, in Rakai district, under a USO program that was initiated by the First Lady, Mama Janet Museveni. That happened when I was 7 years. That's how I managed to study from primary 1 to primary 3. Let alone, the NRM government rolled out UPE program, and through this arrangement I received education up to primary 7 in 1999. I'm proud to be the first product and beneficiary of UPE under the NRM agenda of socio-economic transformation. After a year of no school fees, God continued to smile on me when some humanitarian organization, Lutheran World Federation, it was taking care of orphans, furthered my education through O-level in 2001 to 2004 at Chimuli Secondary School, also a government school. After that, the director, St. Mark's College, Namagoma, Mr. and Mrs. Damrira Daniel, sponsored me for O-level, rather A-level. He gave me a full bursary. After senior 6, I thought my luck had ended. But Almighty God favored me, and I made it on government sponsorship to Makerere University to pursue a degree in development studies. Today, I am also sharing the same platform with regret as a Member of Parliament awaiting swearing in. Having been voted as NRM parliamentary flag bearer for Buyamba Rakai district, I have been gazetted by the Independent Electoral Commission as unopposed. Thank you to the people of Buyamba County for loving NRM. Glory be to God. On this day when the President, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, is being nominated by the Independent Electoral Commission again to continue securing our future, the people of Buyamba and Rakai district have sent me to thank President Museveni for his outstanding leadership. Special thanks for the fight against pandemics like HIV, COVID-19, and other 6 killer diseases. His Excellency, we have much hope in you for our future. The people of Rakai are happy that they are now living longer than before, thanks to President Museveni's aggressive leadership in championing the fight against the scourge. I urge all Ugandans, especially the young people, to have a positive mind and take advantage of all government programs that the NRM government advances under the good stewardship of His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, so that they can also be beneficiaries towards securing their future. Long live Uganda, long live NRM, long live Yoweri Kaguta Museveni.
Thank you so much, Semwanga Javira. In Semwanga, you see the fruits of UPE. In Semwanga, you see your efforts in the fight against HIV/AIDS. In Semwanga forgot to tell us one thing that touched me. But it's also not easy for him to come and stand here and talk. I want to congratulate my MP-elect Semwanga for giving us that story too, and yet with a lot of energy. Your Excellency and members, Javira Semwanga told us that at the time when he lost his parents, he was left with a sister who was 14-year-old at the time to head the family, but who also, because of the responsibility, had to get married the following year at 15, and also AIDS took her, leaving them without a parent until the NGO headed by Mama Janet took them on. Mama, thank you for being a mother to all. Thank you for being a mother to those you know and those you don't know. We thank God for who you are and what you are. Your Excellency, allow me to show you that we have a very energetic team in this room. I invite the team that is coming to give us the challenge here. Team that is to give us the challenge here. Jerusalem. Jerusalem. Let's clap for our team. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Honorable Chiwanda is saying it was the best. But I saw Honorable Jacqueline Chatuhale was best. But there was Honorable Anite. Thank you so much. Your Excellency, members gathered here in the country, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni takes up leadership in this country when there were teams or groups of people who are marginalized. We, the women, the young people, the people with disabilities, the elderly, the peasants. And he comes in and brings policies that are even entrenched in the law. We all look at him as somebody who in whom we see our future. And we keep demanding that even somebody who has been told, come and lead us here, also can say, here I am, help me to go empowered. You saw it today. That is a sign of confidence. Thank you for being a conference of all the marginalized people, because we believe it is you who has brought us this far. Women clap for His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Youth clap for His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. People with disabilities, please clap for him. The elderly, they did stop at giving you confidence and all that you require. You have also now gotten safe in the parliament with 5 seats. And you are the first leader in this country to be accepted by all of the regions, all the religions, all the tribes, all the colors, all of the heights. Uganda accepts you as the leader. Your Excellency, you are the liberator of this country. You're a peacemaker. You're a good listener. You're a parent. You're a Pan-Africanist. In you, this country, we feel secure under you, under your leadership. I want to take this opportunity to invite Alhaji Moses Chigongo, the first National Vice Chairperson, to come and invite you to address us and launch the manifesto as we take on to seek mandate for 2021-2026, securing our future. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, service providers. Thank you, leaders. Thank you, Uganda.
Your Excellency, the President of Uganda and Chairman of the National States Movement, Mama Janet Museveni, the First Lady, the Right Honorable, the Vice President of Uganda, Mzee Sekandi, the Right Honorable Prime Minister, the Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Kadaga, the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Jacobo Raja, members of the SEC, the ministers who are here, our religious leaders, Member of Parliament, and to all of you, the movement people who are here today, allow me, first of all, to congratulate His Excellency the President of Uganda, our chairman, for having gone through these nominations successfully. It looks as if it is something easy, but it's not easy, because I have heard there are some who have not yet gone through, and they were told to go back. But for us, we went through without any problem. I congratulate Your Excellency. Your Excellency, you have done great, and we are proud of you. You have finished the nominations, and you are now our presidential candidate. The work left behind is for us Ugandans to do it, to look for votes as much as possible in a scientific way. And we promise we'll make sure nobody beats us. As you all know, my standing here is simple, to invite His Excellency the President, but before I invite him, I can't forget my son, Baby Cool, to come up and give us something so that after him I call His Excellency the President. That's my son.
Thank you, Father. NRM, we come from far as a country.
Yeah.
I'm the representative of what they call Okuyiwawo Okubiri. Your Excellency, Okuyiwawo Okubiri is to go full swing. It's been a long time, but I'm so proud and happy that the entertainment industry is now set back on NRM. Your Excellency, I won't speak because I'm not allowed to speak a lot, but I want to beg one small thing, and not only to you, but to everybody in the NRM. I kindly beg you all, let's go back to reconciliation for our cadres on the ground. So many members have been doing good jobs here for NRM for a long time. And this is the reason why they do the job these 3 months. But sometimes we front so many other people because they come from the other side. And these people get hurt. But now you have the truth. Let us focus on reconciliation, not only as physicians, but the ground cadres on the ground. We need them. Thank you so much, Mr. Tito. Akayimba kanwakaita mpongeda akalulu. Museveni mpongeda akalulu namudamu. Walala Museveni tumongeda akalulu asana kongerwa. Siteto? Museveni mpongeda akalulu. Walala Museveni tumongeda akalulu asana kongerwa. Obugalo n'abamanyi okunyenyaamu siteto tuli Buganda tulina okubayo akantu tugende diti. Let's go.
Yes,
Thank you, Your Excellency. The people who are here and those who are on TV are now waiting for you to launch the manifesto, our manifesto. So you are welcome, Your Excellency.
His Excellency the Vice President of Uganda, H.E. Edward Sekandi, the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament, the Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, the Right Honorable Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Alhaji Chigongo, Vice Chairman of the NRM, the Right Honorable Secretary General, all the other leaders, all the invited guests, and the Ugandans who are listening. Countrymen and countrywomen, the NRM is presenting to you a manifesto for the period of 2021-2026. This is the manifesto. This manifesto builds on the big successes of the NRM ever since 1965, when we formed the student movement on the basis of new principles, having come out of the old political parties of DP, UPC, and Kawakayaka that were based on sectarianism of religion, tribe, and gender chauvinism. Over the years, this student movement came to understand the long journey of 4.5 million years of the human race on this earth, as well as Africa's position in that long journey. In the speech I gave to the conference, to the national conference in Nambole on the 25th of January 2020, I pointed out to the country how the human being, initially only living in Africa until about 100,000 years ago, used his unique characteristics of his big brain, a hand that can shape things by holding and working, and his bipedalism, walking on two legs, to make tools from stone, hammer, chisel, etc., and use those tools to do work for purposes of producing or catching food, such as hunting, fishing, agriculture, and improving his quality of life. The human being is the only animal that is able to do work using tools made by him. In that effort, he was assisted by the continuous discovery of new technologies that uses the laws of nature to assist production, such as the invention of fire 1.5 million years ago, or the invention of iron in the year 1200 BC. These continuous discoveries changed the way of living of man, and the way he was producing wealth and food, or he was catching food if he was using hunting or fishing. The invention of fire enabled man to descend from the trees and live in caves, enabled people to cook, to roast, to dry on fire, to grill, or local words, kuteka, kuotia, kukara, kutarka, kuvumbika. Rather than eating the food raw, what they call okumeketa in Uganda, and eventually enabled man to get the hard metal of iron out of the iron ore, which is just a rock or soil known as obutare. I think in Uganda they call it amatare, iron ore. This ability of man to discover new technologies reached a watershed point, you can call it a revolutionary boundary, in the year 1440, when a German man by the name of Johannes Gutenberg invented a printing press. Most of the previous tools were powered by human muscle. Most of the previous work before 1440 was done by muscle, either human muscle or animal muscle, horses, oxen, and so on. However, the printing press uses the technology of screw press. And I've asked my science team to describe to me how this screw press technology works. They will give me a write-up. So this is where the human race jumped a revolutionary step from relying on the muscle of human beings or animals to now using machines to do the work. In the year 1698, Thomas Savery, a person from England, invented the water pump that was being powered by steam. Eventually, by the year 1812, 1813, the water pump technology was developed in steam engine technology that started pulling trains. They started using, initially the steam engine was used for pumping water, but by 1812 they had developed it to start pulling big units like a train. This change by part of the human race, and that's where the problem is. Because when these changes were going on in Europe, here we are not aware of them. That's where the problem comes. This change by part of the human race from the use of the muscle power to machine power came to be known as the Industrial Revolution, the first Industrial Revolution. The second Industrial Revolution was the invention of electricity, and the third one was the automation of machines. The human race is now entering the fourth Industrial Revolution of artificial intelligence, machines that have got artificial brains. This is the journey. First Industrial Revolution, second Industrial Revolution, third Industrial Revolution. Now, some parts of the world are entering the fourth Industrial Revolution. This is great for the human race. However, the problem is that Africa, the pioneer of civilization, the origin of the human race, has missed out on these watershed phenomena. That's where the problem is. This big capacity of mind. You remember, because I remember my scripture, union credentials. And I always point out that in the book of Genesis, God mandated man to do two things. One was to produce and fill the earth. That one the Africans are doing, there's no problem. However, the second mandate was to establish dominion over nature. Establish dominion over nature. Man must control, must tame nature. And that's where the African has been missing in action. That's where the African has been missing in action. That's why you don't hear him being mentioned here. We are not mentioning, we are mentioning Germans, we are mentioning English, we are mentioning these ones, but you don't hear the African being mentioned here in these revolutionary steps. Again, however, the problem is that Africa, the pioneer of civilization, the origin of the human race, has missed out on these watershed phenomena. Watershed is a geographical concept where you have got a highland that is a boundary between the two river systems, like the watershed, that area of Koboko, where one of our grandchildren comes from, who is here, is a watershed. That area, that part of West Nile, some of the rivers flow this way into the Nile system. Some of the other rivers flow to the Congo system, to the river Congo. So that's a watershed. We call it the Nile-Congo watershed, that part of. So the watershed, in terms of history, is this one, the boundary between we who continue using muscle and the others who migrated to the use of machine power. But why? How did this come about? Two reasons. The first, the failure by our indigenous rulers to detect the new danger of Europeans that broke out of Western Europe, blocked by the Ottoman Turks that captured Constantinople, what they now call Istanbul, in the year 1453 AD, when they started looking for a sea route to the east to replace the Marco Polo land route that had been blocked by the Turks. These chiefs failed to unite us to fight this new danger. This was the first big problem. When the Europeans started coming here, our chiefs did not unite us. Instead, putting on leopard and lion skins, pretending to be those animals in courage, they were busy fighting one another. Secondly, at the very moment new inventions were being made in Europe and China, Africa came under assault by these new arrivals, starting with the bombardment of Mombasa by Vasco da Gama on the 7th of April, 1498. That's when Vasco da Gama bombarded Mombasa here. 4th of April, 1498, on his way to India. Indeed, the first slaves were taken from Sierra Leone in the year 1652. By 1862, when the first European arrived in Uganda, Uganda was still a three-class society of farmers, livestock and crops, and fishermen, of artisans, and the feudal rulers. The Europeans, and that's why I want you Ugandans and Africans really to wake up. Vasco da Gama passed by our coast 1498. Speke did not come here until 1862. This is almost 400 years. This is almost 400 years. And during that time, the Europeans were advancing technologically and organizationally, but for us we were stagnant. We were stagnant. 400 years of stagnation while the Europeans are advancing. The Europeans had used the 400 years since Columbus. You remember Columbus went the other way. When Vasco da Gama was going this way, 1492, when Columbus went to America, 1492. Vasco da Gama comes this way, 1498. Now, from that time to when Speke comes here in 1862, this is almost 400 years. This is up to the 364 years, to be exact. The Europeans had used the 400 years since Columbus and Vasco da Gama to advance in science. The steam engine, the one I talked about, was discovered in that time. Previously, the Europeans could not enter Africa. Who was defending us? The mosquito. That was our soldier, the one who was guarding us. If the chiefs could not guard us, at least the mosquitoes would do it by killing anybody who came. But by 1862, the Europeans had discovered quinine. And the military technology had also improved. They had invented new guns, breech loaders. Originally, by the time of Vasco da Gama, they were using muzzle loaders. You would load the gun through the mouth. But by this time, they had invented what we call breech loaders, where you could load from the rear. And even they had machine guns, which they had discovered. Our chiefs, on the other hand, had misused the 400 years fighting one another. But the Europeans had used those 400 years to discover answers that were only reliable defenders. And who were our defenders that time? The long distances of Africa and its jungle. The jungle is the one which was defending us. We couldn't go through the jungle very easily, and the distances were very far. The rivers, the forests, the mosquitoes, and the zista flies, and the ferocious tribesmen. These Africans are very ferocious. They are fearless. The African tribes, they can come and attack you. But poorly led by the chiefs, poorly armed, and isolated from one another by the same Mayombe chiefs, but also by the difficult terrain. So, our three defenders, by 1862, were no longer able to defend us. Number one, the Europeans had discovered the steam engine, so they could go long distances. That's how they built the line from Mombasa to here. So distance was no longer a problem. Malaria was no longer a problem because they had invented quinine. And our tribes, who could assault you fearlessly, rushing you, could now no longer do it because the Europeans had more efficient guns, more efficient, more technology. By 1900, the conquest of the whole of Africa was complete, except for Ethiopia. As I have told Ugandans repeatedly, this conquest of Africa was potentially fatal. It was potentially very dangerous. Many of the other peoples that were conquered never survived. It's really incredible. The Red Indians of North America, the Aztecs of Mexico, the Incas of Peru, the Indians of Bolivia, the Indians of Brazil, the Caribs of the Caribbean, the Aborigines of Australia, the Maoris of New Zealand, etc., faced dire situations. Many of these groups were either exterminated or are still greatly marginalized even today. Their languages and cultures were replaced by European languages and cultures. If you go to these lands now, America, North and South, the languages in use now in those lands are English, Spanish, Portuguese, and French, and not the indigenous languages of those peoples. By the 1950s, part of Kenya was being called the White Highlands. Those who are old enough remember this. South Africa, Zimbabwe, and Namibia were being paraded around as white countries. Angola, Mozambique, Guinea-Bissau, and Cape Verde and Sao Tome were being described as overseas provinces of Portugal. You cannot believe it. Mozambique, Angola, Guinea-Bissau, Sao Tome were being described as overseas provinces of Portugal. This ended in 1974 when Samora Machel took over Mozambique and Agostinho Neto took over Angola. The complicating and redeeming factor in Africa were the genes of the Africans and the advanced civilization of Africa. We could not easily die because our cattle, our goats, our chicken that stayed with us in our hearts had long inoculated us against the zoonotic diseases. Some people think that when you stay with cows and goats that it's a bad thing. No, it's a good thing because the cows and the goats are vaccinating you. They breathe into you their microbes and you develop immunity, and that's how we survived. That's why we could not die from the diseases that killed the Red Indians in America. We therefore survived in spite of the slave trade, the genocide, the colonial wars, the hard labor etc. When we therefore met at Igongo as SEC, Central Executive Committee, on the 23rd of December 2018, I proposed to SEC, in the paper I presented, that while addressing issues of Uganda's political, social, economic metamorphosis, we should ask the following questions. How was Uganda's economy in 1900? Because when you want to talk of the economy of Uganda today, where do you start? So I said, please, why don't you answer the question, how was the economy of Uganda in 1900? How was it in 1962 to 1971? How was the economy of Uganda in 1986? How is it now? Where do we intend to take it? And what stimuli shall we use to achieve our goals? This is what I proposed when we met as SEC at Igongo in 2018. This way of erecting milestones can help us discipline the discussion. The manifesto here is a voluminous and comprehensive document that has dealt with these questions following my proposal to them. I thank the Manifesto Committee so much, that was led by Professor Ephraim Kamuntu. To go back to the questions, in 1900, the economy and society of Uganda were pre-capitalist. Those words should be very clear to our people, especially the educated. The educated in Africa, I don't know, they float. Like when I was discussing with the World Bank, so private sector-led growth. Private sector-led growth. But I said, do you think Amos Kabuta is part of the private sector? Amos Kabuta was not part of the private sector. Amos Kabuta was part of the traditional sector. He was not part of the private sector. So when you design medicine for private sector, when it's not there, you're just wasting your time. The struggle was to convert the traditional sector to private sector. This was the challenge, but you don't hear. I never heard these people talking about this. In their documents, finance, I don't know what, World Bank. In 1900, the economy and society of Uganda were pre-capitalist, of course also pre-industrial. Because remember, we have talked of the Industrial Revolution, the first Industrial Revolution, and the second Industrial Revolution, which were already taking place in Europe by 1900. By 1900, Europe was already through two industrial revolutions. The first one and the second one. For us, we are not moving. We were pre-capitalist, pre-industrial, mainly non-money, the limited use of Nsimbi. We had a currency known as Nsimbi, Kauri shells. Even today our people call money Nsimbi, meaning those Kauri shells. Notwithstanding, that use of that Kauri shells was there but not widespread. A barter trade economy servicing a three-class society of the feudalists, the agriculturists, and the artisans. Quite quickly, colonialism suppressed the two classes, the feudalists and the artisans. The feudalists were suppressed because they were competing for power with the colonialists. The artisans were suppressed because they were making products that colonialism was importing, such as plates, clothes, shoes, medicines, hose, pangas, etc. This therefore left only one major social class, the peasants engaged in crops growing, livestock rearing, and fishing. Slowly, this group came to be divided into two groups. A minority that was co-opted into producing cash crops for the colonial economy, and the big majority that continued to only engage in subsistence farming or cholera ekida kyonka. I like that description by the Bagwere. Have you ever seen how Bagwere look like? Do you have a Bagwere here? Who? Sare Kamba. Stand up and see how Bagwere look like. That's a specimen. Even hearing my daughter Seku, you see how wonderful they look. Now I like this description of the Bagwere, where they say Okolera Echida Kyonka. They call the stomach Echida. I like it because it's better than the Nyankore one. Because the Nyankore one is polite. You say Okorenda Yonka. But when you modernize it, it's very beautiful. Echida Okore Chibuto Choka. And in actually, teach me each keken. Teach me each keken. So that is how, by 1962, the economy of Uganda was characterized by the colonialists as an economy of the 3 C's and 3 T's. Being cotton, being coffee, cotton and copper for the 3 C's, and tobacco, tourism and tea for the 3 T's. As you can see, the non-agriculture activities here were only copper and tourism. The other 4 were agricultural: cotton, coffee, tea, and tobacco. In the brief period after independence of 1962 to 1970, this enclave economy, this description is very, very important. Enclave meaning an island. An island. This enclave economy, meaning an island of modernity in a sea of backwardness and moneylessness, grew quite a bit between 1962 and 1971. It had grown a bit. By 1970, coffee production was 3.4 million bags. Tea was 18 million kilograms. Cotton had reached 480,000 bales. Tobacco was 3,414 tons. And copper was 16,958 metric tons, all this per annum. And out of a total of 2 million homesteads, at that time the population of Uganda was staying in 2 million homesteads. According to the 1969 census, 1.9 million of them were still involved with subsistence farming, or kora ekida kyonka. This was approximately 96% of the total homesteads. All these were not part of the money economy, 96%. The workers in the mining and quarrying sector were 7,660, and those in the manufacture of food products were 12,000, and the ones in the miscellaneous manufacturing industries were 26,000. That meant that by 1970, you had 1,900,000 homesteads in subsistence farming of kora ekida kyonka, teach may each keken, i.e. 96% of all the homesteads were in moneylessness. With the coming in of Idi Amin, but also with the natural announcements of 1970, actions that either uprooted the entrepreneurial class of the Asians and other foreigners, or interfered with their ownership, and also the political instability and insecurity that ensued for 16 years up to 1986, the small enclave of a modern economy that had emerged between 1900 and 1970 almost entirely disappeared. Out of the 23 million kilograms of tea of 1970, only 3 million kilograms were being exported by 1986. Out of the 480,000 bales of cotton, only 49,000 bales were being exported by 1986. Copper production was zero. Tobacco had declined from 3,500 tons to 3,400 tons. Sugar was zero. Fertilizers were zero. Coffee had 4 tons and 2.7 million 60 kilogram bags were still being exported. It's against that background that you should understand this voluminous manifesto. Because this manifesto comes to first orient you so that you know where you are, and then tell you how to move forward. It is against this background that you should understand this voluminous manifesto of 374 pages. The manifesto, first of all, restates our ideological principles of patriotism, Pan-Africanism, socio-economic transformation, and democracy. These are principles designed to deal with the following strategic or strategic means long-term questions. Question number one, how shall we ensure the prosperity of Ugandans by removing all the barriers, conceptual and physical, to the rapid and free flow of goods and services within Uganda as one market? To make it clear to all and sundry that Uganda is more useful to the Ugandan producers of goods and services than the individual tribal areas. Because up to today, you hear people talking of the tribal areas. Ankole, Buganda, Fengabaganda, Busoga, Basogan Sete, Acholi, Megwa, Rano, Megwa. That talk is erroneous. You are diverting our people. To make it clear to all understandable that Uganda is more useful to the Ugandan producers of goods and services than the individual tribal areas, Ankole, Buganda, Acholi, etc. It must be very clear to ensure that it is clear to all that Moyo Uganda will ensure our prosperity better than Moyo Gwanga of the tribes. It is the Baganda cattle traders, my personal, Semwanga gave his personal testimony. I can give mine here. It is the Baganda cattle traders, Warisi Mpanga, and Bukenya. There was another Baganda called Bukenya. The Banyankolo were calling him Bukenya. Baganda called him Bukenya, but Banyankolo can easily pronounce that K. Ombarara, and a white man called Shea of Ishaka, that the Muzungu was buying Sota cattle for Chirembe mines. It is these three people that supported my education and my eventual prosperity by buying our cattle so that Mzee Kabuta could pay my school fees. We had cows, we had land, but there was no business. When the Banyankole were not, there was no market for either milk or beef in the Ankole area. Because the area was just, everybody was feeding himself. So who was there to buy meat? Nobody. Just slaughter your own goat, your own. So where there was an organized market of beef was in Kampala here and Chirembe. Because Chirembe mines had started. So, but the Banyankole didn't know anything about business. But these two Baganda, Warisi Mpanga and Bukenya, and this white man Share, were the ones every month they would come to they are called the Mkomera in Runyankore, the monthly cattle auction markets, and we would take our cows there. If Kabuta wanted to get money. Yes, the Banyankole of Ntungam and Kashari contributed to my education by also rearing cattle like our family, so that there were enough cattle to attract the said cattle traders every month to come and buy our cattle. If it had been only our family rearing cattle and taking one cow or one bull once in a while to the monthly Chikomera cattle auction market, the traders would not have come. Marketing for our lonely cow or bull once in a while, maybe every school term, would have been impossible. Therefore, the Banyankole engaging in the uniform activity of cattle rearing also contributed to my education. However, the non-Banyankore, the Baganda traders, and the white man buying cattle for Chirembe mines workers and for Kampala were our real saviors from moneylessness. The second question is the Uganda market enough to guarantee our prosperity? Once all the Ugandans wake up from Kulambara, sleeping, and from Okorra, Echida Kyonka, and produce big volumes of maize, milk, beef, bananas, cassava, sugar, industrial products, etc. The answer is no. The Ugandan market is not enough. We also need the East African market. We need the African market. And we need the world market. We shall get access to the East African market and the African market through the economic integration of those areas as we have done under the ESC and the CFTA, the Continental Free Trade Area. We shall more easily access the global markets if we negotiate as East Africa or as Africa. Uganda alone does not have the clout to negotiate credibly with the big markets of the USA, China, India, Russia, European Union. So, in question number 1 and number 2, we are answering the issue of prosperity. How can we be prosperous? And the NRM is saying you can only be prosperous through producing and selling goods or services. But if you are to produce goods and services, who will buy them on a big scale? Number 1, the Ugandans will buy. But please stop confusing them with the tribes and religion and all that. Emphasize Uganda. Because you are really an enemy. When you start talking to tribes, what? You are an enemy. Because those tribes will not help us to get prosperity. But secondly, even Uganda is not enough. We need to talk about East Africa. We need to talk about Africa. And here we are dealing with the issue of prosperity. How can we ensure prosperity for our people once our people wake up? Because now, fortunately, they are asleep. They are asleep. They are calling Kida Kionka. But once they wake up and they start producing, where shall we sell what they produce? And then also the global market. China, USA, India, how do we negotiate with them? Can Uganda alone negotiate credibly with the USA or with China? That's why it is better that we negotiate as Africa, as East Africa. They will listen to us more. Question number 3 is, how can we guarantee the strategic security, the long-term security, the eternal security of the people, of the Ugandan people and the other African peoples against all possible threats of whatever capacity? Can economic development alone, through economic integration, guarantee this strategic security? Because now we have got so many things to deal with. First of all, prosperity. And the NRM is firmly, for the last 50 years, 55 years, we have been telling you, please, if you want our people to be prosperous, emphasize Uganda, emphasize Africa. Because that's how we'll get a big market, a big enough market to support modern production. But then the next question is, okay, even if people listen and we move on economic integration, is that enough? And our answer is no, it's not enough. And why? The answer is no. During the Second World War, the first victims of the fascist aggression of Germany were the small but advanced countries of Belgium, Denmark, and even France, not to talk of Czechoslovakia, Poland, Norway, Yugoslavia, Greece, etc. So we are saying that even if we economically develop individually as countries, Uganda, Kenya, and so on, but how can we guarantee our security on a global scale? What if some of the big powers want to come and attack us? Can we defend ourselves as Uganda alone? And our answer is no. And the examples we quote are these ones of the advanced countries of Europe who were overrun by Germany. Certainly Uganda cannot easily defend itself in a conventional attack by some of the superpowers. We would have to use the very expensive Afghan. Of course, a small man can fight, but we have seen the Afghanistanis fighting until now the Americans are forced to negotiate with them. But that's a very expensive way of fighting. Very expensive way. The better way is to tell somebody that you don't, I will cut off your something. So that he doesn't even attempt. That's how the what's the like that, then you know. But if somebody has got to come and then you bite him, then what? It is very expensive. We have to use the very expensive Afghan-style approach of a protracted guerrilla war. All the greedy actors, however, will be put out of temptation if Africa reorganizes itself as long advocated by some of our independence leaders such as Kwame Nkrumah, Julius Nyerere, Modibo Keita, Muammar Gaddafi, Gamal Abdel Nasser, Sekou Touré, and Abeid Karume. Some of these leaders advocated for the continental political union and all Africa continental government. Others, however, supported regional federations, such as the East African Federation. I have always supported the latter, the East African Federation, mainly because of the factors of similarity in cultures and languages, or at least linkages in culture and language. These similarities assist cohesion among these political units. In the case of East Africa, we have mainly the Bantu-speaking peoples, some Cushitics, such as the Somalis, the Nilotics, the Nilo-Hamitic, and the Sudanic, Rugbar and Madi. The languages of all these groups are either similar or linked. I always highlight for Ugandans not just similarities among the Bantu dialects of Uganda and East Africa and Central Africa, but also their linkages with the Nilotic dialects and even the Cushitic languages like the Somalis. First of all, for the Bantu dialects, when I'm in much of Uganda, I never get translation. When I go to Musoga, the Musoga there speak Nyankore, but in their own way. Umsada. Now, they think that is a very special word, Umsada. But if you come to Uganda, you say, what do you call the Umsada here? So Umsajja. Then if you go to Unyoro, what do you call him? Umsajja. Then if you go to another, what do you call him? Umsheja. Now what's that? How can you fail to understand that? That I need a translator to tell me that what Umsheja has called Umsada is Umsheja in Nyango. I can understand it straight away. So with the Bantu dialects, I never get any translation. I just understand them because they are really the same language. But because people want difference, but they're actually the same language. But even with the other dialects, the Nilotic and the Cushitic, you find linkages. To take one example, the Somali word for cow is sa. I'm glad Amina is there. The Somali word for cow is sa. Many of the Bantu dialect speakers in Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, maybe even Burundi, I am sure, see the linkage of this word to our languages. Sa, busa, ousa, amasha. In those Bantu dialects, the speakers of those dialects know that this is the word specifically for certain herbivores dung. It is only used for the dung of cattle, buffaloes, and elephants. Now, what the cow dung here, the Somalis call it cow, proper. So you can see, Somalis, it was amazing. I asked the Somalis, what do you call water? Bio, they call it. This is like Luo, P, like Luo. But nobody, these professors, they are spending time with the history of the Antarctica, Why don't you learn about your own people? Because me, I don't even have time, but I just ask, what do you call this? Immediately, I can connect it with the dialects I know. It is not used for the dung of goats. You cannot say goats have got ousa. Goats don't have ousa, they have unguru. And you cannot say chicken have dung, have ousa wenkoko. No, those are matotoro. Totally different words. So ousa is only for cow, and the Somalis call cow sa. So that's why Tango, the historian, should tell us where did this lineage come from. There must have been some original commonality. It is these similarities and linkages that the African revolutionaries should use to crystallize powerful federations that can ensure the future of Africa. We find those similarities and linkages in Southern Africa, West Africa, the Horn of Africa, North Africa, the Maghreb, etc. In the case of East Africa, we have the additional advantage of Swahili, which is a neutral dialect that belongs to no tribe. A very powerful African state can be built around these similarities, involving the whole of East Africa, Congo, maybe Zambia and Malawi. This will be a very powerful and cohesive state of 2.2 million square miles, approaching the size of the United States of America, with a potentially huge population and a lot of natural resources, rivers, lakes, oceans, forests, minerals, agriculture, energy, etc. I am glad the members of the East African Cooperation, both by treaty and by subsequent decisions, have agreed on the strategy of starting with the Confederation as a first step to the ultimate goal of the political federation. There is a drafting committee headed by your own person, Chief Justice Benjamin Odoki, working on this. It is now 63 years since Ghana's independence in 1957. The post-independence African leaders, except for Mwalimu Nyerere and Mzee Abeid Karume, have succeeded in building a Latin America in Africa. Instead of building the United States of Africa in Africa at the wishes of the Waziri Nkrumah, Nyerere, Modibo Keita, Sekou Nasser, Gaddafi were. We have failed to build a center of gravity, a guaranteeing force for the African race, to guarantee a secure and prosperous future for that much traumatized race. The NRM has invested a lot in that struggle in the last 57 years, ever since the declaration of our leaders in Nairobi on the 6th of June 1963. That is when Mzee Kenyatta, Nyerere and Obote, with the delegations from Somalia, declared that the federation would be launched before the end of 1963. We are glad, working with our brothers and sisters from the other East African states, we restored the East African community, which had collapsed in 1977. We are also glad, as already said above, that the East African states have agreed to the creating of a confederation as a first step to the eventual political federation of East Africa, maybe eventually attracting other countries such as Congo, Malawi, and Zambia, because our languages and cultures are close. In this sanga, therefore, we should very vigorously continue pursuing this goal to ensure its realization. Some people have been saying Museveni has refused to retire. Museveni has refused to retire. It's not that I don't want to retire or that I don't have where to retire. But one of the reasons, actually, one of the reasons is this one. How can we? Because Marimo, if you see, the picture, we got picture coming to the one of Mzee Kenyatta, on which page? Huh? 287? Yeah, it is on page 287. Here. That was on the 6th of June, 1963, when these leaders declared that the federation would be formed before the end of 1963. But as usual, Satan, who is against Africa, came in and they started to bring this excuse, that excuse, and it just died away. In this sanga, therefore, we should vigorously continue pursuing this goal to ensure its realization. And I was saying that one of the reasons I really agree that if the Ugandans still want us to participate, I continue to make myself available. One of the reasons is this one. I would like to see, because Madam Nyerere tried, and when he was trying, people were saying, "Oh, he wants to be president of East Africa. That's why he wants to that's why he's trying. That's why he's pushing so hard." Now, Mzee Maribu went to heaven, and you are now here with your problems. Now, if you had listened to him, people come and go. He would have gone away, but he would have left you in a better situation than you are now. Okay? So if your aim was, if you are worried about Marimu being president of East Africa, no, he went away. God took him. And you are here with your problems, which I will mention later. You are stuck. So in this Kisanja, therefore, if the Ugandans agree and give us support and we win the elections, we should vigorously continue to pursue this goal to ensure its realization. In case some of the sister countries have any hesitation vis-à-vis moving forward, we shall propose to the brothers and sisters the concept of variable geometry. By this method, those states that are ready should go ahead and the others can come later, just like Tanganyika and Zanzibar did while forming the United Republic of Tanzania, serikali ya muungano wa Tanzania. It is amazing that many political actors in Africa never talk about this, yet it is the only insurance for the future of the Africans. Why did we oppose Amin from the word go? We did not know that he had started killing people at that time. Some people think that we opposed Amin because he killed people. No! Amin took power on the 25th. That same evening we met and decided to fight him. We met in Bugoroni, in Kanyomozi's house. Said no, Amin must get out of the way. What was our reason? Our reason was not that killing people are not supposed to kill people. That's what is off the point. Even if he had not killed people, we would have opposed him. Why? Because we could see that he could not easily get our vision. But yes, we had some issues with him, but we thought that we could pressurize him, and we were pressurizing him through the NUSU, through what, to move to our vision, a united Uganda and a united East Africa. That was our vision. Anybody who interferes with that, we push him aside. Then and now. We have no compromise on that vision. Because it is our future. That is the future of Africa. We did not know that he had started killing people at that time. It was because we saw that he was incapable of understanding our principles of patriotism and Pan-Africanism especially. You cannot be part of any effort that does not include patriotism and Pan-Africanism. It is on account of this long journey that we sometimes get into collision with the arrivists. Arrivists, the ones who arrive in power, and they think that is the mission. The mission is to arrive. We call them arrivists. Who think that by taking control of Uganda or any other former colonies, we have arrived. You have heard the Americans talking of four-dimensional superiority, which means being superior on land, in the air, at sea, and in space. Some countries have started space armies. How can Africa, for the second time in this millennium, watch while other countries are building great strength to our disadvantage? My appeal to the NRM members, the other Ugandans, and the other East Africans is to scrutinize this point and we move. Number 4, once we grasp that the NRM insists on patriotism to deal with our prosperity and Pan-Africanism, to deal with both prosperity and the strategic security of Africa, we cannot forget to remember that prosperity will not come until our society undergoes socio-economic transformation, as alluded to earlier. How will this come about? It will come about as a consequence of everybody going to school, having good health, and entering the money economy by the masses, invading the enclave economy, and entering the 4 sectors for wealth and job creation. The 4 sectors are, as we have said many times, commercial agriculture with the Kibaro, away from the ancient culture of non-money economy of Okore Chida Kionka, industries, big and small, based on agro-processing, minerals, beneficiation, marine resources industries, forest products industries, and the new capacity of knowledge-based industries of medicine, vaccines, motor vehicles fabrication, etc., services sector, and ICT. Since 1986, the economy has recovered and expanded. The colonial enclave has been restored after the destruction by Idi Amin. Coffee production is now 7 million bags. Tea has surpassed the 1970 level of 18 million bags. It is now 18 million kilograms. It is now 60 million kilograms. Sugar production is now 500-something metric tons, 500,000 metric tons. Cement production is now 8 million metric tons. Steel production is 216,000 metric tons. Beer production is now stands at 647 million liters. That's the beer you drink. 647 million liters. Soft drinks production stand at 1 billion and 174 million liters. The textiles now stand at 20 million meters, etc., etc. These are mainly industries that had collapsed during Amin's time and the subsequent chaotic times. However, there are some industries that are totally new, such as the ones making mattresses, the milk industry, the motorcycles, tires, the leather industry, the medicines industry, the vaccines industry, the fisheries industries, the sanitizers. The other day I met people from the Middle East. Now, the other drink which was killing you people, you know, the waraji. Apparently the waraji, our people here drink is 30% alcohol or something. Now once you boil it more, and it goes to 70%, then it becomes a sanitizer. Now, there's a big market now with this corona. There's a big market for us in the Middle East. We have some people here from the Middle East, because you know we have got a lot of waraji here. The other people there don't easily have waraji where they come from. So your waraji now is becoming a big world industry of sanitizers now. And I prefer it that way. I think let it be for hands, not for Kibumba. Kibumba is not. So these are new industries. The furniture, the motor vehicles fabrication. Very soon we shall be having our own buses made here, made by both Mr. Metu and by Chira Motors. We shall be having our own Kayoras, our own minibuses. It is important that we note the emergence of the knowledge economy, because up to now we have been relying on the economy based on natural resources, coffee, minerals, and so on. But now, those scientists, the ones we put on the Manifesto Committee, and the committee they come from, they will use their skill to create a new wealth for Uganda. A country like Japan does not have agriculture, does not have minerals, but it has got educated people who make these cars which we use here, all of us, and the machines. Now, here, your people are beginning to do the same. So in addition to the natural resources-based industries, we now have knowledge-based industries. The most inclusive effort we are making to change the structure of the society is abolishing the culture of subsistence funding. In addition to the programs of wealth creation, Women Fund, Youth Fund, we have launched the new OGA funding, which creates capitalization arrangements for specialized areas, metal fabrication, woodwork, ceramics, hospitality, leaders circle, etc. This fund will be constituency-based, the all constituency circle per activity, while the producers are organized at the parish level. The manifesto details the achievements and the future plans. Here, having given this background, I will only conclude with two categories of points. Category one is why and how we are able to repair the economy. The second category are the mass issues that we are continuing to address, that you, the flag bearers, we should address and the mobilizers. With category one, our recovery was and is quite organic, one thing leading to another. Number one, we started with sorting out the ideology of the management of society. What was more important, identity or interests? And I use the word of chenura. Chenura is when you solve people's problems. The old politics was emphasizing identity, religion, tribes, and gender, male chauvinism. By rejecting sectarianism, the politics of identity, we have been able to unite more Ugandans. That is why we get 60% up to 76% votes in all the previous general elections. The people are more united. In 1962, they could not get that support in the country. I don't think, if you calculate, I don't think there was any party which got even 40%. Because the parties were based on religion and tribe. And I remember the seats. Kawaka Yeka got 21 seats in Parliament, DP 24, UPC 37. You can compute the percentage of each. It was not easy to get even 50%, even 40%, I doubt very much. But here, because we don't talk about tribe, we don't talk about religion, we talk about issues, about problems which are common. That's how we have been able to unite more people. Now, this political harmony was reinforced by a good and strong army that had been built on these correct ideological principles. That army has been able to guarantee peace throughout Uganda for the first time in 500 years. I normally say this and people think that I'm just talking. The problem is that I am from here. My clan has been here all these years. All these groups come and find me here. From Congo, from Sudan, from where? From Rwanda. So, I don't, when I come, I don't talk about 50 years of independence, 70 years of colonialism. We were not created by colonialism. We were here before colonialism. What was the situation like? I will know you. And I am able to tell you that if you check, this is the first time in 500 years when this area called Uganda is at peace from corner to corner. So, number one and number two, the harmony in politics, and peace, and a strong army have created peace. These two have helped the rich people that had run away to come back, and new ones have been attracted. In so doing, the rich people, Abagaga, what you call investors who had run away, they came back, and new ones came. Now, when they came, in so doing, these investors have produced goods and services, thereby resolving the problem of shortages that had caused so much misery to our people. You remember 1986, the biggest problem was Ebola shortages. No sugar, no soap, no paraffin, no this, no cement, no beer, no soda. That was the situation. Ebola who helped us solve it? These private people who were attracted back by peace, but also private sector friendly policy. These rich people have not only solved the problem of shortages, but they have also created jobs. 700,000 jobs in industries, in factories. 700,000 jobs. The 700,000 jobs in industries are more than all the public service jobs. Because the public service jobs, if you include the army, the police, the teachers, they are only 470,000. Mitali is there. He can tell you. But the Ugandans who are employed in the factories now are 700,000. If you go back to 1962, because you remember I have given you all those figures here. If you go to 1962, the figure of industry and services was like 30,000, 40,000. But now, industries alone are 700,000. Services, hotels, borders, transport, 1.3 million. ICT, 15,000. So the three sectors are now employing more than 2 million Ugandans. And we are just beginning to chart handicap. So the strategy of good ideology, where people get united, a strong army which is also ideological, attracts rich people to come to Uganda. Once they come to Uganda, they help us, they set up factories, solve the problem of shortages. But in the process, they also create jobs, what I have mentioned. But also, they do something else. They help us collect more taxes. In 1986, we collected only 5 billion shillings as tax. We are now collecting 21,000 billion shillings as tax. This is 4,200 times more tax collected than in 1986. With this money, we are now able to support defense, health, education, infrastructure, support wealth funds, and so on. So therefore now, the problem we are remaining with is Engabula. The NRM has been able to create more money for you, for the government, to create jobs. Some jobs, not for everybody, but some jobs. Solve the problem of shortages. Now you must deal with the issue of Engabula. In Luo, they call it Poko Marom. Do not Poko Guna, no. Poko Marom, you should distribute well. And I really want the NRM leadership, especially the members of parliament, once we finish the elections, that we must Kugabula. Starting with because when you hear people crying about this, it is the Kugabula, the distribution. I'm talking about the budgeting. Hence, Uganda is now unstoppable. Even without including the oil in the Kibaro. I'm not even talking about oil here. Even without including the oil in the Kibaro, in the calculation, Uganda is on the verge of becoming a middle-income country. Our GDP per capita now is US $910. If it was not for the COVID, it would have been 920. To become a lower middle-income country, you need US $1,039. So we are just $100 below the boundary between the lower income, the lower middle income level and the least developed countries level. With this enhanced tax collection, even though we are still collecting only 30% of GDP in tax, while others go up to 18%, we shall solve even the question of poverty. Among the 19% of our people still below the poverty line, and also the problem of the 68% of our homesteads that are still working for Echida Kionka, Teach Me Each Keke, subsistence farming. You heard that in 1962, the homesteads in the Echida Kionka economy were 96%. Now, in the other last census, there was 68%. It has improved from 96 to, but 68% is also still too big. The only problem we have, which we are really correcting, is Engabula distributing. We must Poko Marom. We must increase the money for the wealth funds before we spend money on administrative costs and salaries. Akagambo ako. I'm sure I'm speaking for all the NRM flag bearers that we are unanimous on this point. No money will go anywhere. My priorities, which I recommend to you, are the following. I started with the defense. You must always have a strong army. Then I add electricity. And I add roads and the railway. And I add health. I add education and paying government scientists well. And then the wealth funds, the yoga, the women, we must put a lot of money there. It will help us to fully monetize and modernize our economy by eliminating the Abakorera Echida Kioka and convert all of them into commercial actors. The second category, the residual mass issues, are of course topped by the issue of the Abakorera Echida Kioka, which we have exhaustively discussed in the preceding pages. Then the manifesto brings up the issue of school fees. You heard how Semwanga was helped by the UPE and by UESO and by some friend somewhere in the middle. Then he went to Makerere on government sponsorship. My concept of free education in primary and secondary schools has never been accepted by the local elite. They keep bringing back school charges, claiming that parents must also contribute. The question is, can they afford? If they cannot afford, then what happens? Who loses? It is the country. The children in the primary schools are now 10.7 million. Why is it that the students in the secondary schools are only 2 million? Because remember, we have got 10.8 million children in the primary school. But when you go to secondary school, there are only 2 million. And even if you add the tertiary and the university, it's like 2.5 million. So what has happened to the others? Because remember, the years of secondary education are 6, S1 to S6, almost the same as the years of primary. So how is it that we have got almost 11 million in the primary school and we have got only 2.5 million in the secondary, in the secondary and post-secondary schools? Where have the others gone? That means they have dropped out of school. Why? Because of the barrier of the school charges. Where did the others go? They are back in the villages. Therefore, the Uganda shillings 1.2 trillion, because we spend 1.2 trillion shillings on UPE, and we spend 754 billion on USE, is not providing free education. I tried to warn Professor Kamud, please don't use the word free education in the manifesto, because this is not free education. It is providing subsidized education for those who can top up. So what we are doing now, we are subsidizing for the ones who can top up. The ones who cannot top up, they drop out of school. This issue must be resolved with the advice of the village assemblies. I recommended that the village assemblies pass resolutions on this. Can the parents afford? If they can't afford, then we must insist. Anybody who does not support free education, then we must he must change his position. If many parents cannot afford, it must be free education and not subsidized education. The issue of land evictions from my land and even from public land. Anybody who evicts a lawful tenant admitted to the land by either the owner or his agent, the bona fide occupant that was on that land by 1983 or before, the ones who bought or inherited from the two above or being evicted from a customary kibanja on public land for any reason other than the non-payment of the nominal rent commits a nullity. We do not accept that unfairness. The manifesto gives quite a bit of attention to this and proposes measures including the cancellation of such titles. The solution is to resolve this historical distortion by putting aside good money, paying off the landlords, and giving ownership to the Luanja people. I have done this in Ankole, in the areas of Ishaka, Kashari, Isingiro, Kachigane, Wampara, and Chilema area in Nakaseke. All the political leaders should defend the tenants on this I want to salute the Honorable Judith Nabakova for fighting for the people of Wabinyira and Serinya. That lady, I don't know whether she's here, or she helped me to fight a very good battle there for the ordinary people. The issue of the environment, of people cultivating without contouring on hillsides, cultivating in the riverbanks, cultivating on lake shores, cutting forests, etc. I'm told that we are here because the lake chased us. You know, we had encroached on the lake. So when God was not happy, he chased us. We can't go down there. You know, we used to have our tent down there. But the lake has chased us now. So I don't know whether I'm unhappy or happy, but God's ways are mysterious. Although we have never used rough methods, I want to advise our people to observe all these environmental issues. We shall enforce these laws with dialogue and understanding. Finally, the tarmac roads from corner to corner of the country have been constructed. However, there is now a problem of the Maram roads in the rural areas, especially in the rainy season. People now are suffering in the rural areas. Among the Arogwena, Ozuwemlimu, Lumanyi, Engudo, nyingi teziyitika. Songa ebyuma webiri. Tulina ebyuma ebirungi ennyo eby'amaanyi eby'omulembe mu buli district. Naye ekizibu kiri nti amafuta agakozesebwa ebyuma ebyo tegamala. And we shall find out what the problem is. When I checked, I found that when I was in the north with the Honorable Jacob Olanya, we talked about it, and we estimated that if there was 1 billion per district for fuel, that it could handle, it could power these machines to clear the roads. But when I came, I checked, I found actually that the budget is more than, because 1 billion per district, that means 146 billion for all the 141 districts, 46 districts. But actually the money we are putting there is more than that, it's 168 billion. But when I checked, where is this money going? It seems it is stopping on the way. The money is not arriving. Because I told the Honorable Jacob Olanya to check, because we have got a few districts of ours there in the north. So he gave me the figures, or more 200 million. What happened to the other money? So I would like to ask the MPs to go and check district by district how the money is 168 billion. The one for the fuel. And our estimate was that if 1 billion per district was given, it would be enough to power these machines. But actually the money is more than what we had estimated. It is 168 billion, which is already being sent, but it doesn't arrive. So people in the villages know that we are now all engaged in this issue. We shall, fortunately, we bought the machines. We have got very good machines from Japan. And we are going to send even more money, but we must first find out what happens to the 168 billion. Where has it gone? Why does it not reach? When I came back from the north, I got the government to provide 146 billion. Additional, I didn't know about the 168 billion that time. but I said we should look for 146 billion. Each road must be graded, marramed, and compacted. I'll put this in writing. I don't want to hear Okharagata. Okharagata is in Nyankara where you just scrape. Because when you scrape, after and it rains, it becomes a mud. So it must be 3: grading, marraming, and compacting. Such a road will be motorable. Even in times of the rainy season, the roads will remain passable. We recently drove on the Maram Road from Pachiro through the factory area of Atiak, of Mama Amina. We crossed River Unyama, drove through the sugarcane plantation all the way to River Aswa. This was a distance of about 20 kilometers. We had a long convoy of vehicles, but nobody's vehicle got stuck. Yet it was the height of the flooding. Why? Because the road was graded, marramed, and compacted. And you could pass even in the rainy season. So, abombyalo manyi obwenguto bwe mulimu ekibimu kiri nti ebyuma weebiri mbadde neererekidde nti sente z'amafuta tezimala naye bwenkomyewo eno bwenvudde eri ebitundu ebyakono ebya Uganda mugamba tumambuka amambuka geki the north okay mambuka kale amaserengeta amambuka is what we shall discuss. Bwebulya mambuka mbadde neererekidde nti esente tezimala naye bwe ntunde mu bitabo nsanze nti esente ziri mu bitabo nyingi okusinga kye tubadde tulowooza wadde tubadde twongeremu sente endala naye tugenda kwekenenya sente zino lwaki tezikola buli omulimu oguli eri ogwetaagisa. Ekirungi kiri nti ebyuma weebiri kati ababaka ba parliament bonna bali wano aba NRM bagenda kuddayo mu districts bekenenye kubanga esente zino obuwumbi 168 singa buli district efunako akawumbi kamu enguto songa ebyo ate ebyuma weebiri buli district erina ebyuma byayo omulimu ogw'okukola enguuto zino okuhalagata olunyankole okuhalagata okuyiwamu amayinja n'okunyiga byandibadde bikoleddwa enguuto zandibadde ziyitikamu mu nkuba. Waliwo ekizibu ekirala abanyankole bakiyita okulengerwa. This when the road is flooded. Now that one is a different problem because even if you marram, if the road is low, the water floods it, then you have to wait, and then you raise the level of the road to a higher level. That may have to wait, but that may be in a few places. But the ones which are just for grading and marraming and compacting will be done. These MPs here, each one of us will help me to discover what has been happening to this money. But in any case, we have provided for additional money to come in quickly okubadukiza ku nguuto zino ez'ettaka. Ezakolas ezo nungi eyo yonna gy'ogenda new roads like the one in the north from Orio all the way to Kitugu the one mine here from PG to Kanoni, Kabarasoke, Zimbabwe up to Masaka, the ones of Adebakunya, the one of Katosi. Those roads, the tarmac roads are doing well, but it is the Maram ones which need to be addressed. So with these few words, it is my pleasure to present the NRM Manifesto for 2021-2026 and congratulate the Manifesto Group. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Can we give him a hand clap? Members, I want to inform you that I participated fully in the making of this manifesto. But the President has summarized it all. Let's clap for him. Your Excellency, allow me to take this opportunity to show the team, the public, the people you personally chose to witness the nomination. In addition to those who they know, but particularly those who you don't, most of the people here don't know. We have Hajat Bakari Shamsa Tuni, the wife to the late historical Hajj Bakari Zubaid. Mama Shamsa, can you stand up for recognition? She's there. She represents women who are part of the struggle from the beginning up to today. Let's clap for her. Part of the Bawejere group. And Your Excellency, I want to thank you. You've really kept to the people you started with the struggle. Let's clap for her again. We have Captain retired Muriru Mohammed from Luero. And with that team, there is the new team. We have Sekou Heren. Sekou Heren, the youth who was the seconder from Butebu district. Can you clap for her again? We have Miss Ayena Rena from Kotido, the Bazukuru. And we have Council Adrian Karujire, who was there to make sure nothing passes the legal eye. Let's clap for him. Your Excellency, even here we have our parliamentary flag bearers for youth. Parliamentary flag bearers, NRM parliamentary flag bearers for youth. Can you stand up? They were in the other corner, the other side. There they are. We have our team. Congratulations. Your Excellency, we have Council Barat.
And a very good evening. Once again, it's just a minute to 7 o'clock, and of course it's been a very eventful day today, the 2nd of November this year 2020, where we've been part of the nominations on day 1 of the presidential candidates at Chambogom. Now this is Justice Jenny Yarakama's first election, of course. The one that we had in 1996 was the 1996 was I forget his name. 2001 was Stephen Akabwai. Yes, 1996 was Stephen Akabwai. Then we had one in 2001, which was Haji Kasuja. Then, of course, the preceding elections there were organized by Dr. Engineer Badru Chigundu. Now we are into another phase of Justice Yarakama. Now, on this day today, we saw 3 generals being nominated. The first general there was Yoweri Kaguta Museveni Tibuhaburwa of the National Resistance Resistance Movement Party. Then later on we saw Lieutenant General Henry Mukunde Kakurugu of the Renewed Uganda, Chisoboka, an independent candidate, and ANT's candidate General Greg Mujisha Muntu also getting nominated. Now today we are expecting, of course, the other two candidates who came, but they failed the test for the nomination. One of the candidates there, Mutumba John and Nancy Kalembe Linda, both independent candidates who did not make it. And of course now also been part of the nomination, I beg your pardon, the launch of the NRM Manifesto. Now we just want to sum it up today, and with me in studios, these two gentlemen, of course, who are always with me, to just wrap it up here. Ndugu Mututa, what's your final, what's your general take on what has actually happened today at Chambogo, where two young persons, of course the youngest candidates in this race, bowing out for of course those reasons of failing to pass the test of the Presidential Elections Act Section 10 6 there that talks about the mandatory 20 million shillings. Of course that is non-refundable. Both of them have failed the test. Let's get run through that before we run away.
We have been hearing stories of how they failed and why they failed. Maybe we shall concretize that, but even in the morning when we were here, we were talking about the preparations and what it means to be nominated, the processes that are followed for a candidate to finally get nominated into candidacy. And we also hinted that it's also possible that by the close of today, we could have some people who have dropped along the way because of the processes. And just as we suspected, it happened. Now, when you look at the people who dropped out, but of course, when they have not dropped out, rather because we still have a day.
They have an opportunity.
Yes, but then, as a candidate, and we talked about this when we were talking about the elections in Tanzania, that as a candidate, to be able to prove that you are a leader and or intending leader, that you need to have preparations ahead of time. That these systems, you can always beat them if you are prepared. And I suspect even tomorrow, we may also have another candidate maybe dropping out or something like that, which will be funny. But I think these two young people had their own issues. I don't think they will have someone to blame for this, because if you are going to have to be nominated, the guidelines from the Electoral Commission were very clear, and all of them were doable. And if any person had issues with that, there was enough time to cross-check backward and forward to find out where the problem was. But then it happens, and then that tells you the type maybe of the preparedness. But also, when you are bounced from a nomination center as a candidate, finally you can be cleared, but then it affects your credibility, it affects your performance, and it goes with you to the rest of the campaigns. And if, God forbid, if likely enough, if they will be nominated, we still, I suspect, we're likely to see more of the disorganization within those camps.
Thank you so much, Ako. I'm only thinking, by the time you go to show interest, pick nomination forms, you go around the country, find 98,000, I think 90,000?
About 10,000.
About 10,000, about 9,800 or 10,000 signatures across the country for you to actually be verified by the Electoral Commission. I think it's just the bare minimum is you ought to have acquainted yourself with these laws, the Electoral Commissions Act, the Presidential Nominations Act. Basics there, I think should be very simple issues for you to know. The young man said he had the money with him in cash, and the law says you can actually pay the money in cash, but of course there could be reasons of COVID and anything like that. But how would you get to a level, if it's not being theatrical, if it's not being comical about it, how would you go to the nomination center and you are very sure that you did not pay money, or you've not paid the money, but you present yourself to be nominated?
What has happened today, I just feel that it is symbolic. Symbolic in a sense that, look at the three generals. they have all nominated successfully. And therefore, nominating successfully, therefore means that, as civilians have always said, that Uganda is not yet ready for civilian president. So they have shown the discipline, and we have shown that we are better organizers. You see, by the time somebody joins the army, perhaps participates in a war, goes to the rank of a general, it means that he has gone through the process of how he can organize human resource and organize himself. And that has played out. That really generals, the army, are better organizers and better organized than we, the civilians. Then secondly, it is symbolic, especially on the side of Katumba John, who is a young man. It shows that really, as a youth, surely a young woman, if I can use that, going for the presidency is something that is actually bigger than you can imagine. And that actually has played out. Because if you could, and also symbolic in the sense that most young people do not have capacity. You look at, they just concluded the primaries for NRM. Very few youth actually one ticket, go to the flag because they did not have the resources. Now on the issue of Nancy, it is also still symbolic on the side of the women. That women, not only are women, they are not yet ready for the national leadership, but also showing that yes, much as they are the majority, they still have time to organize themselves to get to that level. Now, back to the issue that Haruli has come out, I think Nancy and John Katumba, they could pass really for jokers. I'm sorry if I'm using very whatever, because it's like sitting an exam. You're sitting for a national exam, and you are aware that one of the things you need a pen. You need to show that you paid school fees, and now here you present yourself without a clearance card from the doors, so that you can sit for exams. Okay. Yeah, because these are some of the requirements.
One of the reasons here, or one of the posts on social media here says that Nancy did not have a tax identification number. She didn't have a TIN number. That was required to make the payments of the required monies to the Electoral Commission. And she says there was a delayed payment somewhere, and I take full responsibility for that. I shall return tomorrow, Tuesday, 3rd November, with full documents in duplicate. That's what Nancy says. But even just that, if she takes responsibility for the small things here, is would we take us serious for Nancy, who did not just wake up last week to say she's getting into this thing, but she managed to move around the country and at least go to 98 districts of Uganda. Can we excuse her for this simple excuse of just a TIN number call before I get to flu?
I don't think really we can excuse her, because if you can fail to manage a small team, because ideally I don't think President Yoweri Museveni or General Tumukunde, General Munchu, they paid that money personally. You have a team. You have a team you're working with, and everybody should play their part. So now, if you can really fail from the start, first impressions are always very, very important, because a nomination exercise is that step that ushers us to the climax of an election. This is now the madness now, the climax, which is the madness. We shall see the campaign, we shall see the manifesto. So now, if you are really facing hiccups on the cloud towards the climax, it means you've not been ready, and you're not ready now for the climax.
Well, our time has run out, and we need to prepare for the bulletin at 7 o'clock. To you, Mututa, your final comments of what should we expect tomorrow, and what do you think is going to play out tomorrow, having seen what has actually happened today, where 3 generals have successfully nominated, 2 civilians failing, and now tomorrow is the Civilians' Day, I could say. And majorly, I think independents, apart from NUP and FDC, maybe DP also comes onto the fray, but we expect to see more independence. Of course, tomorrow is a Civilians' Day. What do you think should be expected tomorrow as we get out of the studios?
The candidate for me of interest will be DP.
Look at now.
Yes. Because I want to confirm that he is prepared or not prepared for this.
Chairman Mao.
Exactly, because I know there's one time when Mao failed to present an ID card when he stood.
Last election, yes.
So I'll not be surprised by any means tomorrow to find that DP will not have the presidential card by the end of that day. So for me,
tomorrow by this time you will have to wait for 2025.
Exactly, but then that will be a very big story behind it. If DP will fail to present a candidate for these elections, I think we'll look at that. But of course, we may also have some of these independents not either showing up or some of them also being bounced, given the trend that we have had today. If seasoned men who have been these things like Bwana Tumukunde could have such a hot time at the commission, it is likely that we will also have some people who also have problems there.
Okay, I call your final take. Somebody here sent a message to say Nancy and Mutumba, this is Patrick Okumu, who says Nancy and Mutumba are very good economists. Now I can't waste my 20 million in an election that I know I will not win. So they played out the economics here to say 20 million shillings because you need bodyguards and all the things. To hell with the bodyguards, let me keep my 20 million finally.
Now, I just want to say, this one who says they are good economists, I just want to say that actually they are the worst. Because ideally they have spent more than the 20 million shillings. And besides, the 20 million shillings is nothing compared to the cost of running an election in the country. So this is proof enough that actually they are really not ready for the task. Perhaps maybe they could have at times you can declare for something, and in that process of pursuing it, you get hiccups and you get problems, and you are not ready to maybe to pull back. But I just want to say this to all the presidential candidates, like America Cabra did say, that claim no is a victory and tell no lie. Victory, success is not a commodity that is bought in the market. Neither is it a prize given to the oppressed by the oppressors, but it is a product of hard work and sacrifice. So in this particular presidential, even appearing on the ballot requires hard work and sacrifice. Even campaigning requires hard work and sacrifice. So by the time you say yes, like in one of the languages in Uganda, they say, once you undress, so you must bathe. So by the time you declare, you undress yourself, you are the river, then bathe.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, gentlemen. We'll again be here tomorrow to take the world of Uganda through tomorrow's day, which is the final day. And to just thank you, to let you know that today, three candidates nominated successfully: Yoweri Kaguta Museveni of the NRM, Greg Mugisha Muntu of the ANT party, and Tumukunde, an independent candidate who chose the clock as his symbol just right there. Now there are still 9 symbols left for those who will come tomorrow as independents. If they successfully go through the processes, we want to thank you so much. And of course, again, take you a little to Munyonyo, where the launch of the NRM Manifesto is happening. And we also prepare for UBC, which is coming on very shortly. My name is Jagan Semakola Ziksoka. Thank you so much for being allowed to stay and to be with us for the whole day today. Until tomorrow, God bless you. Thank you.
So when we talk of prosperity, we are talking of prosperity through production. The National Resistance Movement is a clear-headed movement with clear objectives and with good membership.
Ekigoma nkikuyenze ndumite oyagala okisinanze ndumite